Good morning. Wakey, wakey. Eggs and bacon. Alright, so, this is the finishing up from the other one that I didn't get to finish. And, I didn't get the quotes in. So, here's your little quotesies. You got George Herbert. He is an English metaphysical poet from 1593 to 1633. And the one I liked was, follow not truth too near. Too near the heels, let it dash out thy teeth. Don't get too close to shoot. Donkey punch in you. Then you need dentures. It's not good. Then you got Jonathan Gottfried von Herder. He's a German preacher and writer from 1744 to 1803. And he said, the working of revolution therefore misleads me no more. It is as necessary to our race as it waves to the stream, that it may not be a stagnant marsh, ever renewed in its forms. The genius of humanity blossoms. These are just food for thoughts, okay? Food for thought. Then you also have you might get another freebie in here. George D. Heron. He is a American clergyman and socialist, 1862 and 1925. Labor is not a commodity, any more than human souls are a commodity. Labor is life, and that's kind of true. I mean, if you think about it, right? I mean, they say idle hands are the devil's playground. I mean, so you're either working. They say you're either working your dream or for someone else's dream. I mean, right? So I mean, life is work, right? I mean. And then, because it's Chanukah, we'll do Hillel. He's a Jewish rabbi and teacher from the 30 BC to 9 AD. And the one I'm going to do for this one will be do not withdraw from the community. Put no trust in thyself until the day of thy death. He used to say, the more flesh, the more worms, the more possessions, the more worry, the more wives, the more witchcraft, the more maidservants, the more unchastity, the more slaves, the more robbery. And that's why they say less is more, right? And always something to be thankful for, right? And just about this whole Hunter thing, it seems like a lot of like the MSNBC, ABC, CBS, MSNBC, stuff like that. They're not really doing a lot of big time airtime on it. You see a lot of their other outlets, maybe local news, are giving a little bit of it, but I mean a lot of it is the same, and a lot of it is just people are trying to get into little barbs and jarbs. I mean, it's politics, right? It's a blood sport, so they're trying to get right, but no one's really getting any TKO hits like the Jake Paul fight. I still don't do the dude's name yet. Yeah, I still don't. And it's not racist. I just don't really care. Okay, I haven't really watched boxing since Oscar De La Hoya, and it's obvious. Okay, I'm big into UFC and stuff like that. But and moving on. So anyway, I think a lot of it is because, like they were saying, Delaware attorney general and stuff is been looking into this for taxes. Maybe that's like the main thing. Who knows? I mean, there's like they said stuff on the laptop, but I mean, who knows? I mean, it's under investigation, which like AG Barr, right? We found out right now that he didn't really say anything because, and that's like when Comey, right? When that was the big thing in 2016, people were like, oh, Comey's doing this because of one thing and trying to do another thing, right? And I think that's what Barr was trying to do, was not trying to pull a Comey, and now people are mad at him for that. So it's like damned if you do and damned if you don't, you know. And I think a lot of this people are just trying to get this whataboutism in, and instead of trying to relate and understand what's going on, people just want to be like, no, I won, you won, this and that. Like I said, the whole baseball team thing, right? People just want the World Series and have the ring on and just be able to brag and have the bragging rights. That's all this really seems to be about, rather than actually getting down to the nitty gritty details or what's right and what's wrong or whatever. And and it is what it is, right? It's fine, whatever. All right, but if it is about taxes, it's probably mostly about, from what I can understand, that 400,000 or so that wasn't disclosed, which probably isn't Hunter's fault, because it seems like there were some business partners, and I was reading an article where it said Hunter had no idea, where one of the business associates was saying, "Oh, he just barely told Hunter that he didn't disclose that river." So there seems to be a lot of unanswered questions, and a lot of it's because Joe Biden isn't answering questions, Hunter Biden isn't answering questions, James Biden isn't. No one. They're all high, and when they are, they're going on Colbert and they're getting soft, question, and it's looking like it's just like, hey, we don't. And a lot of it's because, like I said, they're embarrassed, right? Because they were like pointing the finger at everybody else, right, at the other team, and this and that, and now it turns out that everybody's got a little bit of mud on their face, and instead of just brushing it off and saying, hey, we got a little mud, now we look good, right? We got it all off, and right, can we just bygones be bygones, move forward? We don't want to do all that, so because this is what happens when you paint yourself and put yourselves in corners, right? By what? By trying to be the most morally superior person, instead of just being like, hey, we're all human. We all make mistakes, and but like making things that aren't really big deals like this because you want to win or because you want people or whatever. This is where we get into things like that, when there's actual other things that we should be doing with or whatever. And I think that the bigger story, I think, with this whole Hunter Biden thing is more of the cover up than the crime, which is, they say that it happens, right? The cover up is worse than the crime, and that's basically what's happening, and that's why people are asking for the Hunters and stuff like that to come out and say stuff. But at the same time, it's understandable why they don't, because they're still under investigation. And if you watch Law and Order, they say, right, and Miranda rights, anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. And so that's why they're in this little catch-22, if you will, right? And so, I mean, you have these people, and that's why, I mean, this is why it's all really a quagmire. And I mean, is there a way where they can come out, they can answer some questions, but not getting too deep into it, but also alleviating some of the stress and worry and confusion or uncertainty, but also without maybe what they invoking the Fifth Amendment, right, without incriminating yourself or anything else. That way, there could still be, everything can still happen. They could still have the investigation going on. They could still have, the transition thing going on. You could still have, the people, public court of opinion, whatever, be settled, or verdict coming in, whatever, like that, win, right? And so, I think that, like, because the Federalist has a really good article here on it, and it says all the people who should be embarrassed about the latest Hunter Biden news scandal ranked, and like I said, a lot of it's because they're basically just giving their own rationale of it rather than just letting them say it, right? And by them, I mean the Bidens, right? And it's understandable why. And people do it all the time with Trump or the Bushes or the Clintons or so on and so forth, right? It's understandable. But I mean, again, but you see the same usual suspects, Twitter, Jack Dorsey, Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, right? CBS, Leslie Stahl, NPR editors, CNN, Brian Stelter, Politico, Jake Sherman, Washington Post, Max Boot, but I mean, this is, like I said, this is all opinion pieces. This is, you have Embassy Ben Rhodes, who, again, this is the Obama administration, so, I mean, he's kind of conflict of interest there, but it's also, I mean, also works to, I mean, as a character, voucher, pretty much, for lack of a better word for right now, as for them too, right? So it's either way, right? One side's gonna say this and that, and that's why we are where we are, instead of actually just saying, okay, it is what it is, and let's just get a little bit of these details out. Let's understand what it is, all right, and then move forward. I think that this is kind of a big deal, but kind of not a bigger deal than people are making. I think the bigger deal and the bigger story and the more smoke and the bigger fire that there is where the Eric Swalwell Chinese thing, and I think that that's where people should be making a bigger stink. I think that this is kind of more like circumstantial conjecture. It's more blowing hyperbole, blowing stuff out of proportion. I mean, it's easy to say, oh yeah, all that money, blah 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 blah. But again, we don't know all the details. We're not privy to all the details, and we really shouldn't, right? Because we're not. That's not really in our own business. And we can like to say it is, but that's Hunter Biden. We have no idea what he was saying with his family or anything else. I mean, my family, like you ever, you have children, right? They come home from school. How was your day in school? They can tell you a little bit, but they're not going to tell you everything, right? And you don't expect that. The same thing kind of here, maybe Biden said, maybe Hunter did say something to his dad, or maybe his dad said, hey, how's it going over there, and he just said, oh, it's fine, blah 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 blah, but didn't tell him and maybe Biden, because everything, it got going on, right? I mean, he was vice president, got his own little stuff going on with his family, he's got others, other immediate, maybe just bloop, just didn't recall. I mean, there's lots of things people don't recall, lots of things they did yesterday or last week or even in the same day. So, I mean, give people a little break on that. But, yeah, like I said, you can check out the New York Post, who it seems like they have more exposés on this. The Daily Wire, which is really good. They have a lot of it on it. Okay, I would check out them, and you can also check out the Federalist. But I'm calling Honey Bobby, because his name is what? Right there, Big Bobby. I mean, I'm not hating. I mean, you can go by your middle name if you like. I mean, my grandparents did. They didn't go by the first. I mean, it's called Cole. I mean, shit. But I'm calling you Bobby, okay? Because it looks like Hunter seems to be like a family thing, middle name, right? I mean, it happens. People do that, right? I mean, on my dad's side, it seems like the sons have the father for the middle name, and on my mom's side, it seems like there's like Jean and Lynn and some other one that seems to be a common, for middle name for most of them, and the families do that. I mean, it's cool, right? But I think that this seems to just be more, maybe even, for lack of a better word, let's say, a lot of forgetfulness. Maybe they didn't, oh, we forgot to put this on this paper, or maybe we forgot the wrong date, or this and that. I mean, that happens. But like I said, Rand Paul doesn't think we need to have a special counsel. I mean, look at the Durham report. It's been, what, 4 years now or so? 2 or 3 years now. It's taken forever. Special counsels, I mean, sure, I mean, it may make us feel better, but it's not really going to do anything. The DOJ can and will be handling this. That's what basically the special counsel goes to. I mean, that's their department, is the DOJ anyway. So, I mean, I think we should, and it seems like this whole Hunter Biden thing has been a multi-year, I mean, according to the Daily Wire, a multi-year criminal probe. So, I mean, if that's the case, right, like the Durham report, they say coming out pretty soon, it's been a multi-year, so it seems like this is almost wrapping up, especially if which is Hunter Biden, says he's known about this. It seems like they're wrapping it up rather than it's just amped up. It seems like they're landing the plane rather than taking off. You know what I'm saying? So we should just let this play out, see what it does, right? Wait and see. And I think that the bigger story, though, is and will be the Eric Swalwell and the Nancy Pelosi thing, like AOC thing. It says, I do think you need new leadership, not just Chuck and Nancy. I think, Cocaine Mitch needs to go, and some other people. Kevin McCarthy has been doing really well. I do respect him, and I do think that he's going to be doing really well as a leader and stuff. And I think that we all need to come together, and stop this whole party, like, I'm on the blue team, I'm on the red team, and stuff, and just be, I think, like, the more that they try to pull us apart, this and that, we say no, and we come more in the middle, and just, like peanut butter and jelly. Every time they try to take it, if we're sticking together like the glue, okay? That's what we gotta do, right? The center is the better, okay? Don't be on the sides, because then you ain't gonna get anything really what you want. You're just gonna be unhappy and everything else, and then everyone's really not gonna fuck with you. The more you're in the middle, the more everything's at. That's where everything's at, right? You want to be in the center of the gravity, right? So anyway, I think that's gonna be good for right now to finish all that up in the second half of that. And I hope you guys have a blessed day, right?